where were you watching Sunday night? What were you thinking? That game, Bills Ravens, Chris. Crazy.
I was sitting right over there preparing for our Monday show.
Right.
With one eye on the fourth quarter of the Bills Ravens game. And I turned to our producer, Cowboy Reed, and I said, "Hey, in 5 minutes, this game could be electric." And
really?
It turned, yeah.
What gave you that sense? What the hell gave you that sense that this game could be electric in 5 minutes?
The Ravens doing what they do. I think that to me is the biggest story coming away from the game. Like, the Bills were down to, basically their third corner with Hairston on IR, and they're starting a rookie, I think 6th rounder opposite Benford, and they look small in the run game and all that, and they're down 2 scores, and people are leaving the stadium. But I think, the saying, I said this on my show, that hope is not a strategy. It is a strategy when you play the Ravens, because you could just hope that eventually they're going to make that big mistake, and that's what they did. And credit to Ed Oliver for making that play. But if you hang around with the Ravens long enough, you can beat them. And I think the thing for the Ravens is, you draft Starks, Jair Alexander comes in, you try to retool that secondary that really was in pretty good shape after week 10 last year, and they continue to lose games where their defense has to defend the 2-minute drill. I mean, and it is the Bills, but they lost games like that against the Browns and the Raiders last year. It's a troubling start to the season for the Ravens, but I think on paper, their roster is as good as anybody, so they'll be fine. It's just that's kind of their reputation at this point.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the way, they've gone out of the playoffs, that it's just something always seems to crop up, whether it's Zay Flowers getting the ball knocked out by the Kansas City Chiefs, in the red zone. It looks like he's going to turn and score. Obviously, what happened, awful stuff that happened with Mark Andrews, last year. It just seems to be, or Deion Dawkins having Chris Jones getting thrown Deion Dawkins into Josh Allen's lap when he has a game go-ahead shot against the Chiefs, and then they wind up kicking a field goal and missing it. Like, it just seems to be stuff that we see from the Bills and the Ravens every year, that they can't get past the Chiefs. And now the Ravens can't get past the Bills in this like, makes you think what happens to the Ravens when it hits in January. You know what I mean, Chris? It just seems can you fix it? I guess is my long-winded way of just saying, can you fix that for the Ravens, and how to it?
Well, you'd like to be sitting where the Ravens are and say, hey, there's nothing on our roster that's going to keep us from playing in the big game. Like, if you look at that roster, you think they're at least, if not the best roster in the NFL, one of them. But this was a game where I thought this is where you get the Bills. Yeah, I had the Bills in the Super Bowl, and I feel like this was the game, considering multiple guys suspended defensively, Joshua Palmer kind of working in offensively, Hairston on short IR. Like, there's all types of reasons that I thought that this matchup would kind of mirror last year, where it was in the first game, the Ravens run all over them. They did that. But the big difference for me was the Bills' offense. This offense is in such a better place than it was when they played the Ravens in the middle of 2024, and they got thumped. Obviously, they added Amari Cooper after that. But that didn't really make all the difference. I think Keon Coleman's come a long way, and he was big for them. Also late in the game, Joshua Palmer made some big plays and some really tough downs for Jair Alexander to kind of finish the game. So, if you're the Ravens, you're sitting there thinking, damn, we're not quite where we want to be defensively, if that's the benchmark, playing the Bills offense. And if you're the Bills offense, you're kind of thinking, damn, this is as good as we've looked against a really quality opponent to start the season. The one thing that I think gets lost in the shuffle is they do such a good job protecting, and the Ravens are going to have to bring more pressure in games like that, which is a scary prospect if they can't get home with 4.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app, 12 to 3 Eastern.